Hello, everybody. It's Connie from Gliding Through Blindness, and today we're going to talk about the different blindness organizations and whether I think it's worthwhile to belong to them, and in particular, to go to a convention. And even though I haven't been to one for a long time myself, but I'm looking forward to this one that I will be attending. Um, and also what I perceive as being the differences between the two main organizations, which are the NFB and the ACB. And this is always fluid and constantly changing, kind of just like the two political parties and whatnot. Um, so uh, I might even get some input from my sister, who is visiting at the moment and is sitting right over there. So um, do you have a phone call you need to answer or something? Oh, okay, but uh so anywho, I'll get to that in a few minutes. And I might just hold the computer over there if she wants to give her 2 cents so you can see her better. But I want to just encourage you to check out my previous videos, which are the um two-part series I did on my TSA pre-check adventure, which included many lift rides and many delays and just typical government stuff, really. But yeah, anyway, you'll just have to watch it to learn more about what all happened. And I even got the guy live telling me to turn off my phone completely or leave because he didn't want me to be recorded. And so, yeah, on it goes. But check those out. But the long story short is that I finally did get my KTN now. Yay, which is my known traveler number, which is the number you need to be able to get past security in in airports, so you don't always have to do all the rigmarole like take off your shoes and all that. And so uh that is pretty cool because now I can just plug that into, like, even I already had a flight scheduled, so I just called United and they helped me to navigate the website because they couldn't do it themselves, but they were able to show me where to go to put in the number and stuff in my Mileage Plus account and whatnot. So it should be a pretty seamless process, and I was able to get it tagged onto that flight that I was already had booked. And so yeah, I'm anxious to see how it actually works in theory, which I'll be reporting on. Um, and I, what did I say? In theory. Oh, yes, in reality, yes, because now it's only in theory what I think it's going to be like, but we shall soon find out. And also, I wanted to just say how impressed I am with the NFB app for convention that I'm going to be attending in July. It's just really accessible, which of course it should be because I'm sure it was made for blind people by blind people, etc., and rigorously tested and whatnot. But it's just a feature that obviously was not around back when I attended my first convention in like the early or the late 80s, early 90s. But it just really, now I can't really imagine what it would be like without it. And also, I hear that Good Maps will is gonna be there and I haven't used that before, so that will give me a good chance to practice on that too. And there's other things that I'm looking forward to that I will say more about in due time. But I'm just very excited about all the different things that I want to do at convention and show you all and everything. So be sure to stay tuned for all that. And but yeah, this app like has the whole agenda, so you can easily add things to your schedule, and then I assume like you'll be notified or reminded about those things. Um, and then there's also a list of attendees. Like if you want to make all yourself known on the app, then other people can search for people and like connect with them and such to make it easier to find one another. Yeah, like back when I first attended, nobody had cell phones or anything. So it's just, but yet things went very smoothly and were very well organized and stuff. But just mind boggling to think how much easier all that is today. And that how much we just take for granted now. Um, so anyway, you can find people that like have similar interests to yours and stuff. So I'm just looking forward to that. Um, and uh, I I'm sure Rory, my brother, who is gonna be there, will be bringing an instrument or two. So that will be nice if we can get some kind of impromptu jam session going or whatever. It was really fun when my sister and I attended and just found a random piano somewhere and started playing. It was pretty fun. Um, so yeah, you just never know what might happen. So anyway, now back to our the main thing that I wanted to kind of cover today is about how the two organizations for the blind, the main ones I should say, differ in their convention style. And yeah, it's like it's good to specialize in different philosophies and modes of thinking and stuff like that. But it's when it becomes harmful is when it becomes so polarizing, and I think the two organizations used to be more polarized than they are now, so I'm glad that things are better in that regard. And I mean I can kind of understand it, of course, if you know the some of the back history and stuff. um it's I mean that's why there are splits and different things like that, because people have differences of opinion, but then you have to get past that. And as new blood gets introduced and new uh, thoughts, it should just all be encouraged. And I think that's pretty cool when you can see that happening. And I've never been to an ACB convention, but I hope to. But my thought is that it's probably a little bit smaller and probably a little less formal and more low key. That's just kind of my impression, and from the little bit that other people have said about it and stuff, which can definitely have its advantages, because like you could just be in a more intimate setting probably. And um, I think they're like just more well, like my sister and I now are kind of on like she prefers probably the ACB. Would you say that's correct, Kim?
I mean, I kind of probably prefer their philosophy better, but I have never been to a convention or anything. So,
Yeah. And I'm probably a little more in the middle because there's just things I really like about both. But yeah, like she said, neither one of us can probably speak to it that well because we haven't really been all that active in recent years because of raising family and just other interests and things that kind of took us away from that. But now that we have more time on our hands and stuff, it's a perfect time to get more involved and think about it again and everything. Um, so what would you say? Well, how do you perceive their different, Kim?
I mean, I think of them just one being more kind of conservative and maybe one being more liberal, like the NFB kind of has the mindset of just do everything for yourself and be as independent as possible, where the ACB has a more relaxed and maybe realistic, like ask for help when you need to, and they just are more like they would have the policy of ask for help as much as you want to in an airport, but the NFB would say do everything totally by yourself, and even if you're offered help, say no just to prove that you can do it. So that's probably one of the main differences.
Yeah, and like I'm not sure how if that's totally accurate anymore. And I'm sure, of course, it depends on who you talk to within the organization too, because there's going to be all people's on all ends of the spectrum and every part in between of their personal views and stuff. But yeah, I would agree that maybe the ACB might be a little bit more empathetic and compassionate or something. But I mean, the NFB is very just really want to encourage people to like be their best selves and pick themselves up by their bootstraps and all that. Which I mean, there are good philosophies in that too, and that you can do anything you want to do. Like that you if you're determined enough or whatever, um like and I like their thing now with their what do you call it, logo or whatever, like
Motto.
yeah, motto, live the life you want. So whatever you want that to be, if you don't have those huge aspirational goals but just want to live a great life with people you love or whatever, that's great too. Or um and so, like, I don't think the NFB is probably quite as militant, but yet they just still have this can-do attitude and really encourage independence, which I think was great for like my sister and me when we were fresh out of high school, and that was when we were really introduced to it. And we fortunately our local NFB state chapter financed like us to be able to go to convention because we never would have otherwise. And so I think that was just a great time for us to see firsthand how capable and independent people can be and all the different things that are possible and stuff like that. It was just really encouraging for us at that time. Would you agree with that, Kim?
Yeah, yeah, that was especially at that stage of life where we were like just really determined to be teachers and whatever, and we were able to talk to other people who were teaching already. So yeah, if you're interested in going into a certain field, that's a good place to meet people that are already in that field so they can show you the ropes.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, but like now I would say like I can really understand the other side of it too. Like back then we were kind of just taught by our state president, like the other side is just not like how would you describe it, Kim? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
she was just kind of against the ACB because she said that they like gave blind people a bad name because oh no, and they're telling people to ask for help in the airport, and so now the airport people are going to think blind people can't do anything and whatever. So
yeah. So it's just kind of too extreme, and I mean they just never want to admit that some things just really are harder. Sometimes, at least back then, they just like they would just really focus on a lot of things. They're even easier if you're blind, or you shouldn't even really want to like regret not having your sight because it's great to be blind and you should be proud of that. Which I mean you should. I mean, we all lived great lives because that philosophy was just kind of drummed into us, and we just really took it to heart and really went for things that we would have been discouraged at otherwise if we hadn't had that mentoring and that peer support and whatnot. So yeah, that's what I think is so key about seeing the good in both side in both perspectives, and just trying to balance it in your own mind and form your own philosophy that isn't probably fully either one of those, but is your own like combination of the two, and just what works good for you, and just have a clear idea of what you believe and how to express your thoughts on this. And yeah, but yet you don't need to like hate either one, because I think they both really have their positive points. And so the convention itself, well, I should just say that yeah, I would definitely recommend that you everybody attend at least one convention in person. Hopefully, like happened with us, your chapter could make it possible for you to do that if finances are tight or whatever. And because it's just so energizing to be in a room full of thousands of other blind people and just to see. how capable blind people can be and how independent and all the different things that are possible. And so I think somebody newly blind would greatly benefit as well, because they have no idea like what they can do, and it would just be really depressing for them to lose their sight after having it for so many years or whatever. So that would be the convention. I think would just be a great place to meet other blind people, and now they even have virtual options. So um, people can watch online, which of course is a lot more affordable, but not all of the sessions can be recorded. And there's just still something special about being with people in person, of course, just like during the pandemic, people were um like it, Zoom was great and really came into its own during that time period and really connected people, but people were still anxious to actually go out and meet each other in person. It's just different somehow, even for blind people, even though we can't see each other, it's still just totally different actually being with somebody instead of just being in a Zoom meeting with them. And So now I'll talk a little bit about how state conventions differ from national conventions. And the states, of course, would have more local speakers and would be more intimate. And people are just usually sitting at tables in the room, whereas in the national convention setting, it's just a huge auditorium where there's just row upon row upon row of chairs. And the state conventions are a lot shorter, like usually 1.5 days long or something like that. Um, and It's like whereas national is like near almost a week long, and um, the national ones just have a lot of breakout meetings where special divisions can meet. Like the teachers division or the lawyers division or the writers division or the musicians division. Um, and Like there's a students division and just many that I'm sure there's even more than I knew of back in the day. Um, and so um, yeah, like there's technology division, just anything you can think of. And Then there's a huge exhibit hall where you can see all this technology um, of like everybody that's in the field brings their things and shows them to people, where you can get like hands-on demo and stuff. And now the app makes that a lot easier to know where things are. Like before, we just kind of randomly wandered, and I didn't really find it too. I mean, it's just kind of overwhelming at the time because you had no idea what was where and what you were even looking at and all that. But I'm hoping that this app will just make things much easier. And of course, there's always Ira and Be My Eyes to help to tell you where you're at and all that too. And so and then there's just volunteers everywhere like helping people, and they're like calling out loud like elevator this way, or studio room over here, studio 6 this way and stuff. So you just kind of can follow the voices too and find where things are. And then people in this different state delegations, as you're in this huge auditorium, back in the day anyway, they were saying like South Dakota over here, etc., etc. um so yeah, and there's just many speakers that just very interesting, like stories they tell and examples they give all week to keep you interested. And just it's not boring at all. And like the banquet is the highlight of the whole event, where the president of the association or the federation stands up and gives a keynote address. And it just the whole thing just gives you a great outlook on what's possible, and people just come away feeling energized by how they were able to network with people in their field, or just meet old friends again, and just get all kinds of mentoring advice, and like practice your skills in front of other blind people, because sometimes they can add a whole new and better perspective than even like your teacher might be able to, because if the person that you're just met or whatever is blind as well and has some of the same experiences, they can relate in a special way that somebody who has never been through some of these experiences was able to do. So it's just great in so many ways. And feel please add your comments too about what you like or what you may not like about convention or the various organizations and how they might be alike or how they differ. And with that, I will just say that I hope you will all subscribe and please hit the notify button so you're always aware of when these videos will be published. And I always love your feedback, and thanks a lot for watching. Bye for now. All right.